Anyway, how are you today, Hakim?
I'm doing good. How you doing, family? What's going on? Salute, salute,
Everything's
salute.
good,
Peace,
Good.
peace,
man.
peace.
Good.
Can't complain. Can't complain, man. It's been a long week. A lot of things has
Hmm.
been changing in the government. A lot of things have been changing
Yeah,
locally. It's just been kind of
yeah,
crazy and everything. So,
yeah.
like
Great.
I'm kind of like, been over, work lately. So hopefully I can get through all this. But so tell everybody a little bit about yourself, man. Like let the world know. Like I know who you are. I remember when I was younger, I used to smoke madism. That was my joint. So like that kind of like brings back a lot of memories, and I know you're still doing a lot of stuff now. I've seen you doing things out here at Lincoln Park. I literally live around the block, so when Lincoln Park was jumping off, you was out here, doing your thing out here in Newark. You would do it all, and a bunch of other people that that's been repping hip hop for many years. So I figured, since I known you through connections, was EO Dub and down at Saviors at Delancey. We saw each other at Delancey as well. I figured, let me get you on to something, and maybe you have certain things you need to talk about or like to talk
Oh
about.
yeah,
So like I'm
no doubt.
grateful for you to be here, brother. I appreciate you.
Salute, salute. Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
to answer your question, Hakim Green, Channel Live, Live and Direct, BDP all day, every day. All we do is spark Madism. Of
Yep.
course, the classic song Madism with Channel Live and KRS. That was the introduction to to Channel Live and what we had to bring. The album was Station Identification off Capitol Records. Single came out in '94. Album came out in '95. Prior to that, I was a school teacher from 1990 to '94. That's how I met
Wow.
KRS. When taking young folks to go see him speak when he had Human Education Against Lies. Ended up opening up lectures for him and Leonard Jeffries at various colleges and high schools around New York City. And then months later, gave him a demo tape, and he was like, "Yo, let's do this." Me and Tuffy started doing the demo,
Yeah.
and got the deal, and bow, there it is. We was
Yeah.
rocking. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much
That was the
the
joint
jump
back in
off
the
right there.
days. Yo, that
Yeah,
joint,
yeah.
yo. So many stories, man. Oh my God!
Uh,
Every time we was walking up in Harlem or whatever, we was going to cop something. That's always, my man. That song's dope, bro. That show's dope. That
that
brings
I
shit
was
back
dope.
actually
That
gonna.
memories.
shit
I'm
dope.
gonna show.
The
I,
anthem.
I, I'm
The
gonna throw
anthem.
this.
The anthem.
I'm gonna. Yeah, it's an anthem. I'm gonna throw it back too. That I would love to have you on with another teacher because the realism of '90 to '94, was it New York or Newark that you were working at that
East
point?
Orange. East Orange, New
East
East
Orange.
Jersey is where
Orange.
I'm from. Yeah,
Yeah.
East
Yeah,
Orange,
yeah,
New
yeah.
So
Jersey. From yeah,
so I'm
yeah.
from Maplewood. I'm actually from Maplewood and South Orange. I'm Irvington,
Oh yeah,
Maplewood, South Orange.
yeah. I actually do a talk show, Madism Sports, and my co-host is from South Orange.
Word.
He went to
Oh,
Columbia High
word.
School. Actually, one of my best friends is a teacher at Columbia High School right now.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice.
Oh,
yeah,
word.
That's
yeah.
See, that's what
Small
I'm
world,
talking
small world,
about. I,
small world.
I see,
Yeah,
I seen you, and I seen do it all doing your thing out here, man. Like y'all be out here
yeah.
talking to people and
Hmm.
representing Essex County like crazy, right? That's pretty dope, man. It's pretty
Yeah,
dope,
yeah. You just gotta,
man.
forward movement, progress, upliftment. That's what we
Yep,
about.
yep,
We use hip hop
yeah.
culture to get that across, and yeah,
That's
that's
what
what
we're
it's
trying to
about.
do. A lot of community driven stuff out here. Like,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? My
Mhm.
goal now is to bring like I have this plus I have like an arts project that I want to get you involved in if you're interested, where it's going to be
Okay.
promoting a lot of artists and musicians. So like I want you involved with that, and I want you, as much
Mhm.
as possible to be involved with this because we're using
Okay. Yeah.
community resources to try to build more and more networks and connections.
Mhm. Mhm.
Especially
Mhm.
because we need it now with all these governments not helping as much. You know what I mean? We all gotta like kind of band together.
Yeah. Yeah. No
So
doubt.
go
So it
ahead.
starts. Yeah. No doubt.
So I mean that branches off to your question about community. Like, let's
Hmm.
talk about how have you seen your neighborhood change? Because Newark is definitely different than when I mean, I was that Maplewood district right off Springfield Ave. So like we were straight off Irvington straight into Newark. So I
Hmm.
feel
Hmm.
you. Like what has changed right now? I've been in Brooklyn for about 7 years now.
All right. So when I was growing up in the '80s, shit was crazy. It was crazy. Like the murder rate was high. Crack was crazy. Crack ripped East
Mm.
Orange, North Irvington, Essex County, Northeast, United States. Ripped it up, ripped it up, ripped it up. It was bad in the '80s. Hip hop hit, and then there was some type of again, progress, forward movement, goal setting. Like we could do other things than sports and drugs. So you see the crime rate come down. Hip hop doesn't get enough credit in bringing down the crime rate in America through the 90s and the earlier part of 2000. The consciousness of the people from the late 80s, early 90s, it was more unity, more, come on, let's come together. I shouldn't say more because there's a lot of that now. It's just a lot of times for not always the best reasons. So, but that said, I think where we're at right now is kind of like dope because with the George Floyd murder and the Breonna Taylor, murder, the unfortunate life loss. But what it did was galvanize people to protest and stand up and say enough is enough and start understanding electoral politics and how to make government work. And when you see defund the police as a rallying cry, and you look at the different departments around the United States who have actually defunded or disbanded the police, you see that that's something that's a reality if the people make it so. If the people come together on the grassroots level, organize, get involved in electoral politics, and make people accountable, then you can do a lot more than just ask for a handout, so to speak. You know what I mean? Government is really supposed to be helping you get your thing together, but you got to start with self. And that's a whole other conversation. I don't want to get all in that, but you see what it is.
Can I just jump in too? Because this is like one of the things my grandmother, who lived in the Bronx from about 1964, I believe, till she passed away in like the early 2000s. She always said that like hip hop gave them something to do. Like she never understood it, but she was like, that just gave them something to do at night. You know what I'm saying? And I never understood like how genuine that kind of feeling is. Like you got to understand that like you can just go out and just hang out and just be yourself. And that's something that I think that we haven't got.
Yeah, like coming from a place where, being involved in hip hop culture before we called hip hop culture, when you're literally just doing something because the people around you, that's what they're doing. The older guys in the neighborhood, the older folks are doing a certain thing, and you look up to them and you want to mimic what they're doing. So the DJing in the park, bringing the community out, people dancing, singing, what have you, networking, not even knowing that's what they were doing. They might be networking over some illicit activity, but it's still the idea of networking and building some type of collective base through music and culture, and then the break dancing, what that's all about, that's like spontaneous. When the break beat come on, you boom. The DJing is like we were building the culture, not even knowing we were building the culture. And then the rap thing is just, it's one element, So, you see the cats rhyming, I want to rhyme. That's what I want to do. And you write your little rhymes, your little 8-bar rhymes, and, you're a part of the culture, not thinking that this is going to be a billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar endeavor 30 years later. It's not what you're thinking. You're thinking, we just doing us. This is what we do. Everybody got rhymes. Everybody break dance. Everybody DJs. Everybody do, not everybody, but everybody has a part in the culture. And you see it grow and explode and become what it is. It's like, man, if we could have done that, knowing what we had, so we can purposely keep the culture vultures at bay and make them pay for the culture. You know what I mean? We thought about it like that, but we weren't thinking about it like that. We were thinking about, we just go do us. And then here we are.
Yeah. So
I mean, we're at an interesting point. Go. No, Robert.
So you think things have changed for the better or the worse? You think it's basically the same, or like how do you feel? I feel like Newark, because I live in Newark, and first year I got out here, there were 8 shootouts on the corner of my block, right? So I'm
What
used
year
to
was
like.
that?
This is like 14. I've been here for like almost 14 years, like 13 to 14 years. I've been in Newark. I've been with my girl and living with her out here. Like I live by Lincoln Park, that little area, like right down.
There. Boom.
Yeah, like
Yep.
they used to get live on
Broad
Pennsylvania
Street.
Ave, right there in Pennsylvania. They used to light up a lot. But
Mm-hmm.
what was I gonna say? But it is what it is, man. Like now they're gentrifying everything, and I don't see like really too much benefits to the you know, the neighborhood in regards to like middle and low income, you know, people. I see a lot of people getting kicked out. I had a picture, of course I don't have it here right now, but I had a picture of the fines. They're willing to give cars like $50 or more, and $500 or more for people panhandling, you know, inside the streets and whatever. You know, if you stop at a corner or whatever and they're asking for money, you give them money, I get a fine, and the person gets even a higher fine, the homeless person. So I don't know, like I have my issues with like how they're policing and dealing with the issues out here, especially with the homeless. But what do you feel like? And I see a lot of people doing a lot of what is it, the not heroin, the other stuff, fentanyl or whatever. Like a lot of fentanyl addicts in my neighborhood now, you know, like they're still here, and they're, you know, it is what it is. But you know, I don't mind. I understand that there's a cause and effect. You know what I'm saying? Like that certain things are being overlooked, and that's why that's still there. And the only time you see progress change is when you see like a Jewish guy coming in buying a property. You know what I mean, in this area? Like at least that's what I've noticed. I see like the, you know, like random faces that don't normally aren't here. You know, they're the ones buying the buildings and kicking people out. You know what I mean? But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt too much of your time, but how do you feel about
That's
your
all
neighborhood?
good. That's all good. So, all right. So, you know, I've been doing the 24 hours a piece in Newark for like the last 10 years, 10, 11 years, right?
Yeah.
And I created it to support Raz's initiative, Violence as a Public Health Issue,
Yeah.
which he launched when he was South Ward councilman and principal
Okay.
of Central High School, right? And it was dope because he did this huge think tank. He put together this huge think tank of all the different law enforcement, the schools, the hospitals, social workers, Department of Health, Parks and Recreation. And you get all the different aspects of the Newark community, top to bottom, community groups, to think tank. Let's devise strategies that we can address violence and crime, right? So out of that, we created 24 hours of peace, which was using peace, love, unity, safely having fun, branding that idea, those ideas, like you would brand, you know, I'll put a cap in your ass, suck my dick, fuck you, bitch. Say where you brand that. Let's brand peace, love, unity, safely having fun, right? And we did it, you know, really for 4 years when he was Southward councilman. He wasn't mayor yet. So there was really very little resources. It was born out of the spirit of the North Anti-Violence Coalition, which did protests every Wednesday for 5 years straight. Rain, sleet, hail, snow. And whenever somebody was, you know, somebody got murdered or was a, you know, police brutality or, you know, whatever happened, they would go to that corner, shut it down, and protest the gangs, the drug dealers, the people committing the crime. Now they say, oh, they never protest black on black crime. All right. The North Anti-Violence Coalition did it every Wednesday, 5 years straight. Rain, sleet, hail, snow. Look and research it. It's there. Right. Okay.
I seen it.
So,
I seen it firsthand, man.
Yep.
I seen some
Oh,
of it.
good. Oh,
Yeah.
So 24 hours.
so
of peace,
shout out
right?
the name again.
Huh?
I was gonna
Is it
say
shout
shout
out-
out the name again
North
of the project.
Violence Coalition. And
Got
my
it.
project is 24 hours of peace. Now, 24 hours of peace was like now when we lock down the block, when we go out on the block and we lock it down, we need to bring culture, knowledge, wisdom, understanding to the people using hip hop. That's how 24 hours of peace got created, right? Now, 24 hours of peace is one program in a slew of initiatives that Raz launched when he became mayor. Since then, Newark has seen the lowest crime rate since 1967.
Nice.
Okay.
I do see a difference, man. He's doing a good job.
Newark is one of the only large cities with a community review board. Now, it's politics with everything. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying things can't be better.
Yeah.
I'm saying that there are programs specifically for job placement, housing. Like the mayor is a very open city hall that if there's an issue, things can be addressed. And I've seen it happen.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that life is going to be perfect ever. It just means that we got to do a lot more, you know what I mean, to make things the way we want to see it. But I know when, and you know, I'm in defense of Ras Baraka because he's a friend of mine first and foremost. And like understanding when he came into City Hall, Newark had an $85 million deficit. The city's budget's been balanced for the last 4 years, 5 years.
Nice.
Right. When that water thing happened, he got it paid for without raising taxes.
Wow.
You're thinking he got the county and the state to put up hundreds of millions of dollars to fix a problem that legally the city wasn't really responsible for. One. Two, he inherited the problem. The pipes were messed up.
Yo, I'm sorry, Booker knew, man.
But not even Booker. Like the pipes were messed up even before Booker.
Yeah, of
like,
course.
And
but you don't think Booker knew? You don't think Booker knew? Like, and he was just like kind of like, like I don't know for some reason. Go ahead.
Probably. I mean, I'm pretty sure he did, but it's like, you know, when you think about it, right? Right, how do you fix it? How do you fix it? Because the law at one point stated that the city is not responsible for private property. So the pipes coming into the home, to the privately owned homes, the homeowner is actually responsible for it. The city had changed the law so they could then become responsible for it, and then he figured out a way of fixing it without really causing the homeowners. I mean, you got to come to the table with something. And it's a privately owned home. You're responsible for it, right? Okay. But he tried to minimize their burden as much as he could. Now, you know, I'm an outsider. I don't live in Newark, New Jersey. I'm from East Orange. East Orange, Newark is the same thing. But I've been in New York. I was in New York for like 15 years. I'm in Florida for the last 5-6 years. You know what I mean? So I don't want to, you know, even present myself as the spokesperson for Newark, but those are my people at the same time. In order for me to get to New York, I had to go through Newark. When I was going school shopping, I went to Universal and Dr. J. That's where I went. Like my friends I went to Bloomfield Tech. Everybody there was from Newark, East Orange, and Bloomfield. So like we all family, and it's all our people.
Similar problems too.
I know we still got a long way to go. Like it ain't fixed, and you know, I'm not saying that Ras Baraka is anybody's savior. I don't present that either, but I just know that the brother got the best of intentions for North New Jersey, and if you have an idea, City Hall is an open place for you. That's my experience.
He seems like, you know, my whole thing is I have a big issue with a lot of government stuff, you know, in general. But I do see a difference under his oversight. You know what I mean? Like in regards to Booker, like he always seemed like the you know, buddy type of person, and I started seeing things like being, you know, discrepancies here and there, and I feel like, you know, how do you not know about those things? You know what I mean? And I don't want to hold grudges against anybody as long as their intentions. Like we always speak on this channel about intentions. If the people's intentions are good, those are people you mess with. But with anybody else, it's like there's a lot of people that they make it look like, oh, we're doing this for your benefit, and then you start analyzing the actual things that happen because of those things. Then you're like, well, you know what? That's not really thinking about our intentions. You know what I mean? Like and our future in the long term. So yeah, that's my whole thing. Well, but I seen it different with Ras Baraka, definitely.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. You know, but again, there's still a long way to go, and things ain't perfect, and you know, everybody's not. You know, so yeah.